With the flop that Disventure Camp All-Stars was, every fan of the show needed a fresh start. The response of All Nation Cartoons was Disventure Camp Carnaval del Caos, a show featuring 18 new contestants. And in spite of this season being much better than All-Stars, it's not to say that it was perfect. In fact, a lot of the problems I could find with All-Stars can be found in this season as well. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy as I count down 50 things wrong with Disventure Camp Carnaval del Caos. Disventure Camp had this in its previous seasons, but it's a very common problem here, which is plot armor and contrived eliminations. People say Tristan was eliminated too early, but how can I put this? There is no way to make an interesting plot for this character. That's all I can say. Yo, that fire is burning backwards. That fire is burning backwards. This happened in a ridiculous amount of episodes. There were some slight animation mistakes that, though they are minimal, they could reflect some rushness. Let's not make this a common theme for this show, please. Please! This was a problem with the previous seasons, but it's very much present here as well. But the refusal of having predictable eliminations. The reason why Total Drama sometimes had predictable eliminations was because some characters just served their purpose. They are gone. So many times this season when a character clearly had served its purpose, this character just keeps on going and going and going and going. Should we count how many times people have a plot for elimination and then two of them stand up saying, can we talk? Only for the plot to change by the time elimination comes? I'm sure that this is a very unpopular opinion, but why are musical challenges becoming a thing? These songs are not that good. People ask for this? But you want to know a song that is really good? Next to Me from Emily Sandé, or Shadow of the Day from Linkin Park, or I Try from Macy Gray, or even Never Forget You from the Noisettes? Musical taste, learn it. Logan overstayed his welcome. Plot armor and contrived eliminations. This season has a major flaw, which is actually how poor the interactions are between characters. Every single episode, so much of character interaction is spent on what they should do to advance through the game. Most of the time, we don't see people having interesting interactions, and we can blame this on the fact that the personality of each character is defined right from the first confessionals where we see their backstories. These intros were a mistake. The thumbnails look amazing, like really amazing. I cannot highlight this any further. I mean, just look at this one. It's gorgeous. But why do so many of them include two people kissing with someone else shocked in the background? There are at least 5 of these just in this season. It's a bit uncreative, not gonna lie. As a touristic guide myself, it offends me how spot on Hannah was here.
How dare you!
Spencer. There is no coherent way that you can convince us that Spencer lasted in this game this long because he was smart. I don't appreciate you, Spencer. That ship with Diego was like a Temu version of Tom and Jake. A ship that was not good to begin with. I don't appreciate you, Spencer. And then there were the constant times that he avoided elimination. 2 of which were in back-to-back episodes. No me caes bien, Spencer. The relationship Spencer had with Jade was a mess. Eu não gosto de ti, Spencer. But somehow, Spencer isn't even the best example of favoritism, because Anastasia, Jade, and Logan exist. And take a wild guess as to who are the top 3 this season. Plot armor and contrived eliminations, see? Logan really overstayed his welcome. I'm not gonna do this for the whole video, I promise. How many times could they make eliminations that end with Logan being all teary-eyed because the person that was eliminated happened to be his best friend forever for the episode? A best friend that ended up being betrayed by him, by the way. It got repetitive. They managed to create a character that is meant to be seen as likable in general terms, but fails to come across as likable to the viewer. Good job, I guess. You see, I think we are meant to understand that Jade is the hero of this season, but she spends so much time caring and talking about alliances and strategy that when the time comes, I didn't even notice that she cared for marine biology. She mentioned this in her montage in episode 3, but it was like for 3 seconds. And you have vitiligo, okay, but why don't we talk about that? The biggest issue I have with this season and Disventure Camp as a whole is how many characters there are now. A smaller cast and less episodes could result in a much more compelling narrative, you know. And then there is a tendency that Odd Nations has shown time and time again of only creating characters that are all, and I mean all, Interesting. This is a problem. A problem because the spotlight isn't big enough for everybody. By virtue of only creating interesting characters, this leads to there not being enough space for these characters to grow because they are eliminated too soon. This was definitely a season that needed filler characters. And by the amount of characters that are coming in the next season, it's safe to assume that this lesson has not been learned by the creators of this show. I believe we are entering nitpicky territory here, but am I the only one that thinks that this cast had some severe inspiration from Total Drama in physical terms? I hate to say it like this, please don't get me wrong, but why is that so many of these characters look recycled from characters we've seen in Total Drama? Not only that, so many of the elements, you cannot tell me that these birds are not inspired by the birds in Total Drama. Okay, so I can't be the only one that finds this absence of Derek suspicious. And the whole thing with them being producers is not enough of an excuse. There had to be something else. Gossip anyone? Hashtag Justice for Ted. Like, seriously, Justice for Ted. The only male character that actually feels like a smart-ish dude. Does it feel like after the merge, this season was kind of all over the place? Marissa coming back. Why? The season took a whole year to be fully released. This was way too long. By the time we got to episode 20, I was like, who cares? It got to the point where I totally forgot why the hell is Zayd so aggro about everyone left in the game. No Nina. Seriously, the theme of this season of being in an abandoned carnival would just fit so well with Nina, I feel. That extremely forced friendship of Anna and Logan at episode 24. So we spent 24 episodes of having Anna struggle through the game, only for a character that she only started to interact seriously in the episode she's eliminated, to eliminate her. And the lesson that she takes is that she needs to have fun. A girl that became an orphan at 12 and needs to sustain herself working at a terrible job needs to learn how to have fun. I'll make an exception, but hashtag justice for Anna. What kind of writing was this? A Canadian medalist with practically zero backstory is the one giving life lessons to the orphan? Seriously? So, the final three were a lesbian model that is extremely successful at what she does, an aspiring marine biologist brought up by a lesbian couple, and a bisexual swimmer that really has no issues. Why these three, I ask ironically? And you see, this is something that is constant with Disventure Camp. The spotlight is always under same-sex relationships. I've noticed that before with how much focus they gave to Ellie, Jake, Gabby, Jake, Tom, Jake, Aiden, Jake, and James. It's a shame because they handled this topic so well in the beta version of this show. The recycling of plots within this season. How many times can we have Anna crying because all of her friends in the game have been eliminated? How many times can we have Anastasia being pissed over Marissa being eliminated? How many times can we have Logan crying over him eliminating his friends? How many times can we see Jade thinking about strategy? To me, it felt like a smaller season with less characters and less episodes would have made this season a much more enjoyable watch. The reason why I enjoyed seasons 1 and 2 of Disventure Camp can be attributed to this fact. I can memorize better who belongs to which team, which reasons they are eliminated, and because characters spend time getting to interact with each other more than just being in the game and who to vote next. With so many characters, all of them with so many plot lines, it gets hard to follow the development of these contestants. And the most important thing, Logan winning. It is extremely frustrating seeing a character that had no real struggles through the game be the winner of all this. Okay, he's afraid of water from a very valid trauma that happened earlier this season, but that plot was dealt with before. And the sad thing is, this is the only thing they had to work with in the last episode, the climax of the season. Let that sink in. The most amazing thing that happened with Logan was a plot that happened earlier this season. And that reflects perfectly the problem I had with this character. He is very weak in terms of writing. His background story is one that not many can relate with. The writers tried to involve him forcefully with other and much more interesting arcs and did not manage to do it in an engaging way. And once more, the conclusion of Disventure Camp was the result of favoritism. At least if Jade had won, the result wouldn't be much better because she only talked about the game and barely ever dealt with her passions around marine biology. But at least she was invested in the game. Logan winning is just the result of clear and utter favoritism. Miriam reigns supreme. And that's 50 things wrong with Disventure Camp Carnaval del Caos. In spite of my tone, this season was far better than the previous one. But I have to admit, this season did not excite me to tune in to watch it as seasons 1 and 2 did. I don't think the problem was the fact that these episodes were being released with a 2-week window, but I also don't think that the solution is releasing these episodes with a 1-week window as well. Personally, it got too tiring to watch Disventure Camp All-Stars with 1-week window between episodes. Just look at this new cast. Not only they feel completely out of place just by looking at them, they also comprise half of the cast. The number 12 was the number of characters they had in the very first season, and the shorter number of characters made it easier to engage with these characters. All we can do is wait patiently. Just don't give too much spotlight to Tom and focus on characters that really need it, and I think we will be fine. The next move on Odd Nation cartoons will either make or break this brand.